All right, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says her Green New Deal will save the planet. In exchange, we just give up cars and airplanes and rebuild every structure in the United States. We'll also, by the way, need to invent brand new forms of energy that science hasn't conceived of yet. How much will this cost? That's unclear. How will we pay for it? Unknown. Who will make this happen? Well, workers, obviously, though anyone who is, quote, unwilling to work will still get paid by the government. In other words, not all of the details have been ironed out as of tonight, and that's why we're grateful that Robert Hockett is here. He's a law professor at Cornell. He's advising Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on the Green New Deal, and he joins us. Professor, thanks very much for coming on. So can I just ask the obvious question, why would we ever pay people who are, quote, unwilling to work?
We never would, right? And AOC has never said anything like that, right? I think you're referring to some sort of document that some doctored document that somebody other than us has been circulating.
Oh, I thought that came right from her. That was in the background or from her office, is my understanding.
No. She's actually tweeted it out to laugh at it. If you look at her latest tweets, it seems that apparently some Republicans have put it out there. I don't know the details.
Good. Well, then thank you for correcting me. I mean, because it seemed a little ridiculous. Almost as ridiculous as the idea that we're going to build enough light rail to make airplanes unnecessary, which I think actually is from the plan.
I don't know where you got that either, Tucker. I actually believe that you're actually on our side about this if you actually read the actual plan, right? There's nothing about getting rid of anything. It's about expanding menu options, right? I mean, there are many, many things we want to be able to do now in addition to what we already do. So where's the airplane disappearance coming from? I'm not really clear on where that originates.
Well, I could actually get it for you. This is
that would be great.
Frequently asked questions released by her office. And I'm quoting from it. Maybe this is fraudulent, in which case I hope you'll correct me. But it says that the Green New Deal would, and I'm quoting, totally overhaul transportation, and that would mean, quote, building out high-speed rail at a scale where air travel would stop becoming necessary. Hawaii Senator Mazie Hirono responded to that by saying that would be hard for Hawaii. So I don't think that's made up. The senator from Hawaii doesn't think
but I mean, it apparently is being misunderstood, right? We're really talking about expanding optionality here. We're not talking about getting rid of anything, right? We're talking about basically making it cost-effective to move into more modern forms of technology, more modern forms of production, which would then enable people actually cost-effectively to transition to that stuff. We're not talking about requiring anything or prohibiting anything. That sort of 1980s style environment.
Okay, but hold on. I don't want you to back away from what she herself has said. And all of this with the caveat that, you know, a lot of this won't happen, maybe none of it, but these are the ideas that she's articulating. She did so on NBC last week.
I promise you, Tucker, I won't back away from anything she said. Indeed, we're pushing forward, right?
Then she said, well, yeah, at high speed.
Very high speed.
That we're going to supplant all fossil fuels in 12 years.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Okay, so that doesn't
mean prohibiting them. It means rendering them obsolete by doing something better. And we can do it. This is America.
Then good. Then I'm glad.
And
it's nice to have a smart person on the show to explain this. What about air travel, which is critical to our economy? This is a continental country.
It stays the same.
Okay,
right?
but no, because that requires fossil fuel.
We're talking about carbon neutrality. Remember, we're talking about net zero emissions. That doesn't mean that there's never any burning of anything, right? I mean, until we come up with solar panel flying airplanes, of course, we're not
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just want to correct. I just had, because this seemed like we were making news on the show, the unwilling to work thing was in her backgrounder. That has been absolutely confirmed. You're saying no.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Okay, so NBC and lots of other news outlets are saying that was in the background, and you're saying it's fraudulent.
That's erroneous, right? Now, there might be new details now that you know about that I don't, because I've been doing media all day. But the story all day.
Yeah, I think that was actually in the document. I read it as it came out.
Well, it's the wrong document, Tucker.
It's definitely the wrong. Yeah,
that's not us. No, we certainly don't believe in anything like that. So what you're saying is we're
not getting rid of fossil fuels, actually, even though you just said we were. Because
no, we're rendering them obsolete for most purposes they're used for now, right?
But air travel is a huge source. Source.
Hence the word most before, right?
Okay.
We eliminate them for most purposes for which they're used now.
Include cars. So I've got 2 gasoline-powered cars at home.
But imagine how much better it's going to be when it's cost-effective to drive electric cars. But that can't be done simply by individuals, right? You have to coordinate. You have to have charging stations everywhere. And, of course, individuals can't do that, right? So in that sense, the government is acting like a kind of orchestra conductor here. We're trying to coordinate some of that stuff that can only be centrally coordinated and then enable everybody to act individually within that framework, right?
Yeah, that doesn't, I don't fully understand what you're saying, but let me just, I mean, on the low end, this would be the most expensive thing that the United States has ever undertaken, including rural electrification, the Second World War. And I'm just kind of wondering, in a country that's got more debt than it has GDP, how would we pay for that?
Well, here's the key, right? Remember that we racked up enormous debt to finance the Second World War effort and the New Deal and, of course, the interstate highway system in the 50s. But here's the key point. Here's a takeaway. I want you to remember this. I hope everybody will remember this. Remember that inflation is a relation, right? It's the relation between the quantity of money and the quantity of goods. Now, if the money that you're spending is resulting in the production of a great many more goods, you have no inflation problem. More production absorbs more expenditure. The problem with the $7 trillion that was spent during the Bush years and, of course, the last tax cut was that it wasn't actually productive. But note that even that didn't bring about inflation.
Okay,
right?
We're still not getting close to it. And by the way, I'm just getting all this in my ear, and we're actually going to follow up on this next week.
Okay.
That unwilling to work line, which you're obviously embarrassed about, and you should be, of course.
No, I'm not embarrassed.
That
It's just
was
not
in
us.
the document.
It's not embarrassing. No, Tucker. No, Tucker. No. We're not embarrassed by what's not ours. No, Tucker. We're not embarrassed by what's not ours. Okay. We want to clarify that it's not ours. Yes, we are.
We're going to prove it one way or the other, and I hope you will come back.
I will.
Professor, thank you.
Thanks so much, Tucker.
I'm always grateful when people on the other side come on, including you. Thank you.